friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
This week we are covering chapters 1 through 13 of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, so you don't have to read the whole book to listen. You just have to be caught up on the chapters we're covering. Amanda, darling, can you believe we're back in the Maas world?
Yes, I can't wait to talk about this book, and I love Sarah J. Maas. I'm so happy to be back with her.
I know, I love her too, and we have gotten so many requests for us to do Throne of Glass, so we listened.
Yep.
We're doing it.
Yep. 8 whole books.
I got extremely sick starting this book series.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Poor Megan's voice for this episode.
This is the best I've sounded in days, so that's why we're doing this on a lovely Saturday morning for you.
Literally.
Amanda, darling, what are you drinking today?
Well, I'm just drinking a little bit of water since it's early. I was going to have wine because for the first time in like months I have wine in my house, but it's 11 a.m. So I think I need to chill. So water it is.
Yes.
How about you, darling? I know you just took all of your medicine to prepare for the episode.
I did. I just took my nasal spray. I took my sinus, cold, and flu medicine. And I'm having some coffee. And it has a Premier protein drink in it.
Ooh.
So I'm getting some protein, but there's a shot of espresso in it.
Hell yeah. Hopefully that will wake you up and shake your voice.
Yeah. Cheers to episode 58 of Bookish Bliss and our first episode of Throne of Glass.
Yay! Cheers! Series number 3 on the podcast.
Yeah.
Woo!
So crazy.
So crazy.
Series number 3, but book number 9, I think.
Yep.
So crazy.
Book number 9.
Amanda, darling, tell us all of our updates so I don't have to talk.
So, we've had quite the break, Megan and I. Besides Megan's illness, we've also been super, super busy with work, but we have also started a Discord channel.
Yay! We're so excited.
We're so excited. We have all different channels there to talk about the ACOTAR series since we've covered that. Start talking about Throne of Glass and Empyreans there as well if we want to talk theories for the next book. And we also are going to have a book club going on as well. Our first book is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. Super excited to read that. It's just this little fantasy sci-fi-ish book that basically is about this woman falling in love with this man over and over again in every lifetime. And she knows it's going to happen and still falls in love with him. So it just sounds so interesting. I'm very excited to read it. If you want to read with us, join the Discord. You can find it on our link tree in Instagram and TikTok in our little bio. So please join us.
Yeah, it just sounds like such an interesting book. Not only do they fall in love in every lifetime, but he also kills her in every lifetime. So we have to figure out how to break the cycle. I think it's going to be a really fun read to do as our first book of the month for our Discord. We're super excited about it.
And we already have about 10 people signed up, but we're not really talking yet. So don't be shy. We love to talk. So please write in it and have fun with us.
Yes. Any other updates?
We're still recovering from Onyx Storm.
Yes, I think about Onyx Storm at least 10 times a day still. And that is no exaggeration. It doesn't help that people will send me TikToks about Riddick because of my obsession with him and just different those sad edits of Violet and Zayden's. I'm just not over it. It's still popping up everywhere for me. I cry at least once a day about it.
Yeah. We are recovering hardcore. Maybe we need to do like another theories episode somewhere down the line because I've been seeing so many new theories even after Final Thoughts that I'm like, itching to talk about. So maybe in between Throne of Glass, we can throw in a couple
Yeah,
new theories episodes.
I'm hoping Throne of Glass can just like lift me out of my Onyx Storm
Depression.
depression. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we need not just another theories episode, but like a recovery episode just to like
Yeah,
vent our feelings some more.
literally. Yeah, we'll have to squeeze it in the schedule somewhere.
Yeah, but I am really excited. So, I guess to be fully transparent, I have fully read the
Mhm.
Throne of Glass series. It is one of my top favorite fantasy series of all times. I am obsessed with the latter half of these books. I think the first couple are just like a nice introduction into
Yeah.
this world, and they're still
Mhm.
fun, and I love
Yeah.
Selena. But the end half of the book series, like, literally has me by the heartstrings, and I also cry about it at least once a week. So,
Yeah, so I've only read the first 2 books and 1 story in the prequel.
mm,
So, I'm very excited to read onward since you love the back half of the series, so but
obsessed.
I instantly loved Throne of Glass
Mhm,
when I started it the first time, and I definitely like it better than the start of ACOTAR, so
mhm,
I'm
yeah.
really, really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's like you almost have to get through the first book of ACOTAR to get into the series where I feel like Throne of Glass, I don't know, just kinda sucked me in from book 1.
Yeah, me too, for sure. But it's also light enough where you're not jam-packed with information right off the bat. Like it's such like a smooth way to enter the world, like you were saying, like such a nice
Mhm.
little introduction. So I appreciate Throne of Glass and I'm so excited to get started talking about it.
Yes, I'm excited though once we get to books you haven't read that have more, like,
Mhm.
world building and, like, theories to it,
Yeah,
for me to,
yeah.
like, practice my acting again. Like, "Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, so once we get to the books that I obviously haven't read, I'm gonna be making predictions too, so
Mhm.
that'll be fun again.
Yes.
Megan to practice her acting skills. We also do have a little tiny change to the format here now for Throne of Glass. We're going to go chapter by chapter.
Mhm.
So I've done notes and summarized all of the odd chapters, and Megan's done all the even ones. So she'll lead the even discussion, I'll lead the odd discussion, but we'll still, we'll be throwing our 2 cents in
Oh, yes.
every single thing that happens.
Oh, yes, we can't not say something.
Yeah, of
But but
course.
with this book just being such an introduction with world building and learning characters, that we thought this would be a better way to switch it up since there's not,
Yeah.
like, too much for either world building and or
Yeah, there's not
characters.
like a full set of world building notes and characters like the Empyrean series. It was just wild, even in book
Yes.
1. So it
Yeah.
was a little bit lighter for us, which is nice.
Yes.
Nice change of pace. So are you ready, Megan, to get started?
I'm ready, darling, let's go.
All right, let's go. We're about to start. 8 books.
Here we go. This is it.
This is it, darling, what all of our audience has been waiting for.
Yes.
Let's get started with the good stuff and break down Throne of Glass Part 1.
Wow.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
We meet Selena Sardothian, our main girl for TOG. She was a slave in the salt mines of Endovier. She was being escorted somewhere in the prison and heard her escort introduce himself as Cale Westfall, captain of the Royal Guard.
Mm.
She notices the gold royal wyvern emblem embroidered on the black uniforms. She realizes that these were members of the royal family's personal guard, and she was standing in front of the crown prince of Adarlan.
Whoa. Why is he there?
Whoa! Why is he there, honey?
Yeah, to drag her out of the salt mines?
That summary just made me so excited. Yes!
Here we
Here we are with
go.
our girl.
Yeah, our new bestie. We had Feyre, Nesta, Violet, and now we have Selena.
I know. Love her. So
I
this
know.
whole chapter is kind of just obviously an introduction to her, our
Mhm.
main FMC. She's smart. She's mesmerizing the path that they were taking her down because, they're trying to trip her up and go zigzag and left, right, when really she's just going around in circles. She's like, these motherfucking idiots. They don't
Yeah.
even know.
She's like, "They're so dumb, this building. I know what it looks like from the outside. Like,
Yeah.
I know the pattern, what it would be, and what they're doing makes literally no sense. If anything, they're just helping me to escape better.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, "Great, I'm learning the lay of the land. Perfect." She's also so cunning, and she's already sizing up her opponents. She's like, I can take this guy, I can take that. Like, this is what I'm gonna do."
Mhm.
She knows what she's doing.
Yep.
She says to herself, "I will not be afraid." And it's basically her mantra in the salt mines, which gives us kind of just like a little peek into what this salt mines place is like for her.
Yeah.
Because we already know she's so smart and cunning, and she didn't seem like she was afraid of anything. And now she's saying this is what she has to say to get through her days in the salt mines.
But I also love that, yes, she's this, like, fearless, badass assassin,
Yeah.
but we know that she still has to, like, talk herself up, and she
Yeah.
has the mantra of, "I will not be afraid," and I think that just makes her so much more human and, like, relatable.
Yeah, for sure. She's young too. These are like children to us.
Yeah, I know. I know.
The salt mines of Vendovia, we also get a little peek into these and how brutal they really are there, these slave places.
Mhm.
They're constantly hearing the lash of whips and worse, like people screaming in agony constantly, which cannot be good for your mental health.
Definitely not.
Endovia was filled with Darlin's greatest criminals, poorest citizens, and latest conquests, which makes me feel like some people probably don't deserve to be in there.
Probably more than just a few.
Some,
Yeah.
yeah. Probably 90% of them.
Yes.
Crazy. Then we get this mention of the royal family's personal guard.
Mhm.
We get these gold royal embled embroider
The wyvern on it.
with wyvern on it.
Mhm.
We know about them wyvern.
Yeah, so this was my first rodeo with Chalk of Wyvern was
Oh,
during Throne of Glass. So when
yeah.
they popped up in the Empyrean series, I was like, "I know what that is."
And we're in front of the crown prince of a Darlin, which doesn't seem like is usually a thing that happens in the salt mines so far. So
Yeah, I don't think he's a frequent visitor
no,
to
I don't think so
Indovir.
either. And she seems pretty shocked that he's here. So let's
Yeah.
find out why he's there, Megan.
All right, so chapter 2. Oh boy, I wonder what the Prince of Adarlan wants from our famous assassin. We get the description of Kale, Prince Dorian Havillard, and our newest book bestie, Selena. I love how she describes her eyes as 3 different colors. We
Hmm.
learn more about our girl's attempted escape when she arrived at Endovir 4 months into her imprisonment, and Dorian gets a good look at our girl and tells her that he has a proposition for her.
Ooh.
So, first up, we get a description of our captain of the Royal Guard, Cale Westfall.
Hmm.
Selena describes him as not excessively handsome, but his rugged looks and golden brown eyes made him appealing.
Okay. He sounds
Okay.
like a little cutie.
Yes. And the Crown Prince, Dorian Havillard, he has striking blue eyes and raven black hair. I just feel like the contrast of like the dark, dark hair and those blue, blue eyes must be just gorgeous.
Yeah, mesmerizing.
He also wore a golden crown on the top of his head and the crest that has the wyvern on it.
Big wyvern people.
He's all dressed up for this meeting with this famous assassin.
Yeah.
So Selena can see the prince standing up there before her on this throne that they have in literally a prison, but
Yeah.
it's totally fine. And everyone bows except Selena, but then she is forced to her knees to bow before the prince by a Duke Parrington who had obsidian eyes, which I thought was interesting. So I wanted to make note of that.
Mhm.
But the prince didn't seem to like that Selena was thrown to the ground, as bowing is supposed to reflect submission and respect for that person.
Right.
And Selena was not going to give him that, so he didn't like that she was being forced to her knees.
Yeah, no.
Which
He has some compassion for her.
I feel like it just shows like the kind of character that he has, and I feel
Yeah.
like he will eventually be a great ruler.
Yeah, for sure.
We then get Selena's description of herself. She said she had blue, gray, or depending on what she was wearing, green eyes with a gold ring around her pupils. I'm like, how can you literally have 3 different, I mean, maybe just
Honestly, I
hazel?
feel like those are my eyes. Like they're blue, and then when I wear green, they turn green. And I also have a gold ring in my eye. So I might be Selena Sardovian.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
god, are you, Selena? I feel like my eyes are hazel, but when I do wear green, they are green. It
Yeah.
was so funny. My niece the other day said to me, she's like, Auntie, since when are your eyes green? And I was like, oh, well, just because I'm wearing green. Otherwise, they're just like hazily.
Yeah.
Dorian says that he finds Selena to be rather young to be considered the greatest assassin of all of Adarlan and
Mhm.
potentially all of Aurelia. And she's like, hell yeah, that is me. I am the best of all time. I am the
Yeah.
GOAT.
Yeah. She's like, "You thought I was an old hag?
Yeah, she's like,
I
what do
don't
you
think so.
mean? She's like,
I'm
I'm
hot."
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
We also learn about Selena's attempted escape. So she tried to escape Endovier once, 4 months into her enslavement. She killed her overseer and 23 sentries and was a fingertip away from escaping before she was knocked out.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy because from the mine to the wall, she had made it 363 feet, where most slaves who attempt to escape don't make it 3 feet before they are killed.
Yeah. This is just giving us an inside look on literally how fucking badass she is.
Literally. So she does admit, though, that this was an attempted suicide. Like she knew she probably wasn't going to make it, and she knew what the consequences of her attempting to escape would be. And I don't even think she really thought she would even make it that far, but she was a fingertips away from
Yeah.
getting out.
Yeah, and I think she says too, she just felt so hopeless in the slave mines because people don't even last a week there sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
And she's been there a while.
yeah.
A year, I think, right?
Yeah.
Close to it.
A year, yeah.
Dorian is now examining her scars, and Selena wants to know what's up. Like, why are you here? Why are you so interested in like what I look like what my
Mhm.
body looks like, what kind of strength that I have? And she's like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I know that you want something from me. And Dorian's like, well, let's talk about your freedom. And she's like, well, I'm definitely listening now. Whatever you
Yeah.
have to say, I'm listening.
She's like, "Freedom?"
Let me brush my hair.
Yeah. I could imagine. I mean, that place does not sound fun. So if
Yeah.
anyone's offering me, literally, I would probably do anything for
Yeah.
freedom at that point.
Me too.
Moving on to chapter 3. The prince tells Selena that her freedom is on the line. His father, the king of Adarlan, has it in his mind that he needs a champion.
Mm.
If she kills for him for 6 years, she will have her freedom. However, there is a catch. The king is hosting a competition. He invited 23 members of his council to sponsor a would be champion, and if she were to win, she would officially be a Darlin's assassin.
Mhm.
He offers her freedom in 5 years, but she counters for 3 and they settle on 4. It's a bargain, though. If she loses, she will be sent back to the salt mines to live out the rest of her sentence or die there.
Yeah, basically die.
She also has to compete under an alias.
Mm.
They depart for Rithold in the morning.
Hmm. I think it's I mean,
Interessante.
I get why they would want her to compete under an alias, but I think it would have just been so much more badass if they're like, this is a Darlin's assassin. Like, this
Yeah.
is the greatest assassin of all time. You
Yeah.
better watch the fuck out.
Yeah, and I feel like they're probably hiding it more because I feel like people don't even really know about the competition. So if word got out that the
Yeah.
greatest assassin of all time was literally at the castle, shit would hit the fan.
Yeah, and they don't know, like, how young she was, like, that she was
Mhm.
even a girl, I think. Like, nobody
Yeah.
knows the identity of who this greatest assassin is, and I feel like that's just, like, such a compliment to Selena herself of how,
Yeah.
like, sleek and sneaky she could be.
Yeah. And her trainer who trained her from literally 8 years old. I mean, I feel like most people probably don't train from that young, which we learn her story throughout
Yeah.
this section. Yeah, she has a brutal little upbringing. So trauma mixed with young training, mixed with
Yeah, she doesn't know
the
anything
king of
different.
assassins. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a beast,
She's a
literally.
beast.
Selena's freedom is on the line. Basically, the king wants to hold this competition to have someone help him maneuver around difficult people, aka send them to their grave. Yep. Selena's like, yeah, I know exactly what that means. I'm not
Yeah,
dumb.
she's like, "I that is my literal profession.
Yeah.
Why even host this competition?"
Literally. There will be a competition with 23 of the members of the King's Council sponsoring a would be champion. So
Mhm,
she's like, This is fucking stupid." But, she would be given a considerable salary if
mhm.
she was to be the king's assassin. So she's listening. Of course, the freedom is the most important. But now they're telling her she's going to have money, she's going to be taken care of. So she's like, okay, it seems like anything would be better than the salt mine. So hearing all this, she's already made up her mind that she's gonna be going.
Oh, yeah, it'd be silly to turn this down. She knows how good she is, so she's like, "I feel like I have this great chance of winning, and for freedom and not having to stay in these salt mines even for just, like, a duration of the competition is a nice change of pace."
Yeah, for sure. She will have to compete under an alias, though, and we learn why here. It's because after her trial, no one knew she was a young woman. As we mentioned earlier, they all thought she was much older, and she kept her identity a secret all those years while she was running around killing everyone. And after her trial, the king didn't inform Aurelia who she was. So
Oh
he knows.
oh,
This makes
yeah.
it sound like he knows, obviously. Well, obviously, because he meets, her later, but he already knew who she was before this competition.
But I love how he's such a little bitch that he didn't tell, like, his country who the greatest assassin is because he was like, "We were bested by a young female." Like,
Literally.
the audacity of
The
that.
audacity. Yeah.
Ugh,
Fucking men. I can't.
losers.
Power hungry kings.
Literally.
But she makes this deal. She's going to go if she wins this competition 4 years and then she'll have her freedom. So they make their deal. They have their little banter, which was cute. Loved
Mhm.
that. She still felt like seizing the prince and dancing after. She's
Mhm.
trying to play it cool, but she's like, in her head, she's like, freedom.
Yeah,
It's just singing at her like a
yeah.
choir in church.
She knows this is the moment. This is her only chance at surviving.
Yeah, exactly. And she actually didn't even notice when Captain Westfall led her away. So she's just like blissfully going back to, not back to anywhere actually. She's leaving. They're going to Rifthold.
Yeah, they're getting the heck out of Indovir.
Can't wait. Good for you. Get out of the salt mines, honey.
This is your moment.
This is your moment to shine. I feel like she's going to Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, like, made it through the audition. "I'm going to Hollywood."
Yeah.
I can't with the king being Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
Chapter 4. We are ready to leave Indovir, hopefully forever, but before that, she spends an uncomfortable last night in a room with no shackles on her wrist. We learn of Selena's love of dogs before heading off on a long journey back to Adarlan. We tried to get useful information, or at least words, out of Kale since we were being shackled to his horse, but he does not want to play or give Selena the time of day. He is the captain of the guard, and she is a criminal. Oh my, God forbid he shows any sort of personality, as he seems to be one of the main characters in this story.
Yeah. Oh, Kale.
Oh, Kale. So Selena was bathed, dressed, and in a bed, and she was unshackled for the first time, and her whole body was hurting.
Hmm.
She tried to eat, but she ended up throwing up the contents of her dinner. She probably hasn't touched this much food in a year.
Yeah, I think she says like she basically only ate like moldy bread,
Yeah.
like very small portions every
Yeah.
day.
She describes herself after looking at herself in the mirror as skin and bones after her
Mhm.
year in Endovir. She was hoping when she got to Rifthold, she would be around lots of yummy food and would be able to exercise again to regain her strength because she's still scrappy. She's like, I may be skin and bones, but I will literally murder all of you.
Yeah, she's like, "My skills, it's like riding a bike, you just don't forget."
Yeah. Yes. She finds the bed really uncomfortable. And when Kale finds her the next day, she's literally on the floor. Like, that's where
Mhm.
she's choosing to sleep because the bed was just, like, I think too much too fast for
Yeah.
her after just not being used to that for so long, which
Yeah,
is
for sure.
really sad.
Yeah, it's like a shock.
And he couldn't even understand. He's like, why are you on the floor? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, privileged boy.
Literally, that
Privileged
was the
white
word that
boy.
came right to my mind, privilege.
Ah, but she was so excited. She ignores Kale. She's just like, has no time for that nonsense. He
Yeah.
was just like, oh my gosh, I can see the sun. She was just so excited to see the sun and the idea of being able to, like, wear and buy clothes again.
Mhm.
She gets dressed and they're all getting ready to leave when she meets the prince's dogs outside. I love how he
Aw.
brings some of them with him on this little trip.
I love that she's a dog person too.
Yes.
This makes me love her instantly.
Yes. We get to see some banter between Selena and Dorian because he's like, "Oh, usually my dogs don't like anyone." She's like, "Well,
Yeah.
I'm the best person you're ever gonna meet, so
Yeah.
of
Your
course they
dogs
love
already know.
me." Yeah. Dogs always know. They're always the
Mhm.
best judge of character.
For real.
She gets onto the horse and she will be riding, but she is shackled, of course, being attached to Kale. She's like, I could just fucking go. And
Yeah.
Kale's like, or he already knows, like he is in her head.
Yep.
And she's like, fuck, maybe I'll hang him from a tree from this chain. She's like all set.
She's like, "This motherfucker's gonna get it."
Yeah. I can be shackled to you, I'll just kill you.
Yeah.
As she's leaving the mines, she knows that she will never forget what happens here and what happens to the people inside. She has the scars to remind her. So she's like, no matter how far away I get from here, I will never forget what is
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah. That's brutal.
Yes. So they're now traveling through the oak walled forest, and Selena is trying to gather the king's plans from Kale. Was the king going to go west after he conquered Wendlin? Like, what is his game plan? Where is he going next? And Kale's like, are you literally kidding?
Yeah.
The forest, the east and west, it was separated from the civilized lands of the east and the uncharted lands of the west.
Mhm.
And in this forest, there was a legend of strange and deadly people who had dwelt here, the cruel
Ooh,
and bloodthirsty descendants of the fallen witch kingdom. She had met a girl from the cursed lands before, and she was both cruel and bloodthirsty, but she was just a human.
interesting.
So I feel like that mention of this girl will have to come into play at some
Oh,
point.
100%, yeah.
Selena now is attempting to still bait Kale after he refuses to tell her what the king's plans are. She's
Mhm.
like, are you going to ignore me forever?
I love how sassy she is.
She wants Kale to ask her how she did it, but he does not want to know. He doesn't want to know anything that she did. She is a criminal and he is the captain of the royal guard. He is not supposed to show her kindness or have a conversation with her. Like, get off
Lighten up,
your.
Kale.
He is always on a high horse. And I have to
Yeah,
say this about him. Like, I don't think it's a spoiler. It's just like he is just always on such a fucking high horse. And I just
yeah.
want to like bop him in the back of the head.
Even Dorian shows her compassion the very first time he meets her and speaks out loud saying like, "Why the fuck did you do that to her?" about them slamming her on her knees. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but, you know.
Yeah.
So, for him to even have compassion, like, it's kinda surprising that well, maybe not because their positions are different, but, you know.
Yeah. I think Kale, it takes him a long time to try
Wo
to warm up to someone, and I think, like,
Yeah.
the slightest misbehavior that someone may do will bring him, like, back to square one. I think
Yeah,
that's
like,
just
their history means more to than who they are now as a person to him, I feel.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's true, though.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, he has to consider it. That is his job, literally, to protect the crown prince,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
and the royal family.
Yeah, he's like, "You may be acting like this weak little, 'I'm being so nice, I just want my freedom' girl, but I know you have ulterior motives, and I don't trust you," and I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I agree.
But she keeps pushing and wants to know if he's friends with the crown prince, if he's titled. He says that he does not carry a title and he does not have an older brother. So there is a story there to be told for sure.
Indeed.
And is he married? And Kale's like, stop. I will literally gag you if you continue this. But she just keeps going. She's like, how old are you? When did you become the captain of the guard? And he does answer some of her questions. He was 20 when he became captain of the guard. So I feel like just giving her little pieces and not just ignoring her fully just like eggs her on.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
the traveling party has now stopped and they're going to have lunch. And Kale's like, thank God I can just at least be around other people and not just her.
Yeah, literally. He's sick of her already.
It's going to be a long trip back to a
Yeah.
darling. Or I should say, Rifthold, not a
Mm.
darling.
Chapter 5. Selena is always thinking about escaping, but she's distracted momentarily with the prince's cute dogs, who went right up to her while wagging their tails. We learn that when Selena was 8, Arabin Hamel, her mentor and the king of the assassins, found her half submerged on the banks of a frozen river. He brought her to his keep on the border between Adarlan and Terrasin. She was trained to be the world's best assassin and was never allowed to go back home to Terrasin. Selena and the soldiers are traveling through Brennan's forest. Her father once told her stories of it being full of fairies, but the soldiers insisted that there wasn't any more. They had gotten rid of them all.
Hmm. This is like
Hmm.
our first mention of like magic in this
Magic.
story.
I know. I'm like, ooh, fast magic's coming back. Fast magic. Ooh, 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 ooh. Fast magic. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Because there's like so little in this first section, I didn't even make a fast magic section, but I feel like for final thoughts, we should do it because it will be fun.
Yes.
The nostalgia.
Yes. It's coming back. It's slowly coming back.
Yeah. We know they stopped for lunch, and, Selena, she's chewing her food very slowly so she doesn't get sick in front of these men. She's like, I know what this fucking food does to me because she's used to this moldy bread for so long. So
Mhm.
we do learn a little bit of her backstory here. So Arabin is this king of assassins guy that found her when she was 8 years old. And he's never said this out loud, but if she didn't accept his offer to train her, he would have handed her to those who would have killed her. So
Yeah,
basically, he didn't give her an option. He was like, you train with me or you die.
which is crazy.
Crazy. An 8-year-old, can you imagine? My niece just turned 7. So in one more year, she would have been Selena's age. Like, that's crazy.
Mhm.
I would kill a motherfucker.
Oh.
So at 8 years old, she knew a new life and a new name training with Arabin was a way for her to start over. Obviously,
Mhm.
she didn't know he was going to kill her at this point, but she had a chance to escape the fate that led her to the icy river 10 years ago. So she's
Yeah.
stuck with him.
It's hard sometimes too because you're so young and something traumatic obviously just happened. You're literally about to drown in a frozen river, and this man comes and saves you.
Literally, of
Uh,
course. At 8 years old, you're
a
going to go with someone rather than being by yourself outside.
yeah, and then you almost feel, like, indebted to them
Yeah.
and will be like, "Alright, well, do whatever you want, like, you saved me." So it's
Yeah.
such an impressionable age,
Yeah.
and Arabin obviously knew this and took full advantage of it.
No, of course. 100%. We learn in her little backflash that she knows she has magic in her blood.
Mm.
I feel like that is going to be important at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah.
So just made a little note of that there. On page 31, it said, it had been a while since she contemplated the gift she'd lost, though the memory of her abilities haunted her dreams. Despite the carnage, perhaps it was good that magic had vanished. It was far too dangerous for any sane person to wield. Her gifts might have destroyed her by this point.
Mm.
So not only does she have magic in her blood, but she had gifts?
Yeah, she's fully had used the magic.
Yeah. I'm like, that's interesting. Gonna put it in my pocket for later.
But it's so interesting how she describes how magic has vanished from this world and like where did it go? Is it coming back? Is there a plan? Are there people who have magic that are planning to fight back? And oh, it's just so much we have to wait and see.
I know. I feel like it is kind of foreshadowing that magic is gonna obviously make its appearance in our story. So it just gets me all excited too. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
We get more of this magic though because we are introduced to Brannan's forest as well. So they're traveling through this forest, and we learn that King Brennan was Fae and Oak Forest was still his to this day. She wouldn't be surprised if the trees remembered him, and all the guards are like laughing, like, ah ha ha, yeah, right. But I don't know. I feel like there's some truth to this.
Yeah, for sure. Trees are old.
Yeah. Before Adarlan began its conquest, the forest was cloaked in magic, but she doesn't tell them that, even though she knew the forest was once filled with gnomes, sprites, nymphs, goblins, and more. So my world building, I'm getting so excited here. I'm like, gnomes, sprites? It's just so refreshing to see magical creatures in the story.
I know. It's so great.
I can't wait for all of them to start popping up.
Yes.
All these magical creatures were all ruled by their human-like cousins, who were the immortal Fae. We get some Fae mentions. Hi, Yay, we missed you.
We missed you.
They were actually the original inhabitants of Aurelia.
Mhm, mhm.
With the growing corruption of Adarlan and the king's campaign to hunt them all down and kill them, the Fae fled. The king of Adarlan had outlawed it all. Magic, fays, fairies, everything. All the magical creatures gone.
Mhm.
He claimed that magic was an affront to the goddess and her gods, that to wield it was to imitate their power. Even though he banned it, most knew the truth. Magic had disappeared of its own accord,
Yeah.
which is interesting there. I'm like,
Yeah, I think the magic wielders or people who have magic are not gonna give the King of Adarlan that much power to be like, "Yeah, it's because of you." It's like, "No, we
exactly.
did this. It was of our own accord, and I don't know, probably gonna come
Yeah.
get you."
Sounds like karma's right around the corner for this motherfucker.
Karma's
Or these
always just
kings.
Yeah, karma's always just around the corner, so everyone
Mhm.
better remember that.
Yep. Many of the magic users were actually prisoners in Endovier, and most didn't survive long, which basically is why Selena was so fucking scared of Endovier. Even these magical people can't even survive there long. So,
Yeah, or why people are so scared of her because she did survive for that long.
yeah, very, very true. That night, she slept shackled to a guard, and when she awoke, she actually saw small white flowers laid at her cot and tiny footprints in and out of the tent.
Hmm?
What?
They're still there.
They're like, "Oh, we know you know about us," because she was just saying that all these things. Now there's all these little tiny footprints. I love this scene. I'm like, "Yay, magic!"
And she does have magic in her veins, so they probably just recognize her magic.
Yeah, like calls to like.
Mhm. Like always calls to like.
Yeah. So, of course, she stomps out these tracks and hide these flowers because nobody can see. Magic is banned. Keeps one eye on the passing woods that day. She's like, "Yeah, you can laugh and think they're all gone, but not the case."
Yes. So crazy.
So crazy.
I've literally forgot that we learn about magic so quickly in this story. Like
Yeah.
I haven't read this book in oh gosh, since like maybe 2021 now. So it's been a while. So it is kind of nice because it is like kind of reading it for the first time again. Like yes, I know like big plot points, but there's like little things that I forgot like that we learned about
Yeah.
magic and the little sprites like going into her tent and I'm like, yeah, the first book's just like a competition,
Yeah.
which is like not true. There's so much more to it. So much
Yeah.
important information when you're reading it the second time that you're like, wow, we learned about this so early on.
I know, and then we're gonna have these great episodes forever to always go back to and appreciate these very small details, and that's why I love Bookish Bliss as well.
Yes.
Little
Yes.
self-advertisement there.
Yes. Chapter 6. I honestly had no idea that it was going to take them weeks to get back to the capital city, but they are not having the best of times. It rained a lot, but when they are getting close to the city, Dorian shows Kale and by default Selena a beautiful view of the glass castle. We get a brief POV from Dorian at the end of this chapter, and he's intrigued by his champion slash assassin, even though he knows he shouldn't be. You cannot be attracted to a criminal, Dorian. God forbid.
Oh, shit.
But it's our first time getting a different POV from Selena, the first couple chapters,
I
or
know,
just
I
from
love
her.
that. I love how it jumps around. I love that.
Yeah, I do like that about this series, how we get the multiple point of views like
Mhm.
throughout the books.
Yeah, well, especially because they're so different and you learn so much from each person, like, I just eat that up. I love it.
Yeah. It's like you get a more well-rounded story when you're seeing
Yeah,
it from all angles.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So they were traveling for 2 weeks in the cold and rain, and Selena did not like this. She'd rather just throw herself into a ravine, which I
Yeah,
thought was
sounds
hilarious.
miserable.
But yeah, I can't imagine like sleeping in like a wet tent, like that. Like, yes, she was just in a prison, but like this is also awful.
Yeah.
Two things can
Literally.
be true at the same time.
Exactly, yeah. 2 hells.
Yes. As they were approaching the city, Dorian made Kale and Selena, because she's shackled to Kale, to go and look at the castle. It was called the Glass Castle. It had 6 spires and it was gigantic. It was built above the original stone castle and cost a heck of a lot to build. Dorian decides that they're going to rest tonight here and continue their ride in the daylight. But Selena does not like looking at this glass castle. It is bringing back a ton of bad memories.
Yeah. Glass Castle.
So stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
No. Kale comments on how she looks like she's about to face the gallows and not her freedom when she's looking at this castle.
Mhm.
And Selena comments how it's just odd to see the city and the castle again. She's not really giving too much away. She also
Yeah.
lets us know that she doesn't know who turned her in, but she has her suspicions. Not many people liked her because she was the best and always got the best jobs.
Yeah.
They then talk about how brutal Endovier was, and if it wasn't for the other Eelway that took the time to clean out her wounds, it would have been much worse for her. She would have looked much more fucked up than
Yeah.
just having some of the scars that she has on her back.
Yeah, and it's like these poor slaves, they all stick together and no
Yeah.
sense of community there. They have to see any hope they can, and I feel like that's the only hope they have is each
Yeah.
other.
And I like how they do stick together and help each other out when they can, because it is such a brutal environment. Like, people
Yeah,
could probably turn against each other rather than helping each other out. And I think it just goes to show you the type of people that are
that are
being
actually in there.
in there are
Yeah.
very good people, and the King of
Yeah.
Agarlan sucks.
Yeah, literally. And he probably belongs in a salt mine somewhere.
Literally. So Selena also is having a nightmare. She was in a mass grave in Endovier and she was being buried alive, which I feel like is such a real
That's
fear to
fucking
have.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She keeps looking at the castle after she wakes up from her nightmare and how she would be locked inside there come tomorrow. But she's like, I have to just keep thinking about my freedom afterwards. Like, I just have to keep my eye on that end goal of my freedom in 4 years. I have to win
Yeah.
this competition and have my freedom in 4 years. I can do this. I will not be afraid.
Yeah, this is where her mantra comes in.
Yes. And then to end out this chapter, we get the Dorian POV. Like I had said earlier, he is watching Selena through the rest of their sleeping entourage. He finds her beautiful, but a bit strange and sour. But I mean, she is a very multifaceted kind of person. And
Yeah.
I don't think you can place her in one category or another, which makes her so intriguing.
Yeah, for sure.
But he needs to remind himself that she is an assassin. She is his champion, and she was here to fight for him and for her freedom, and he
Yeah.
cannot get involved with her.
No.
But she haunted his dreams about a lovely girl gazing at the stars and the stars who gazed back, which just reminds me so much of Akatar
I
with Reese and
know.
Feyre.
Yeah, it really does. And I also think it's a little bit of foreshadowing here that we might get some flirty action between these two.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like it is already such a weird triangle already with
I
Dorian,
know.
Kale, and Selena.
Yeah, it's so crazy already. I love it. Chapter 7. They made it to Rithold. Selena was unchained, dressed, painted, and seated in front of Kale. Dorian Haviljard was waving at the crown, and Selena thinks he looks good.
Ooh.
She's trying to make some sour looking girls jealous and gets into it with Kale. She tells him she should jump off this horse, run and vanish, and he says, "You'd vanish with 3 arrows in your back." So
Shoot.
that's just a little bit of their banter there.
Yeah.
Selena noticed some prisons still hard at work, chained and being starved and beaten. She recalls that nearly 2 years ago, she had freed almost 200 slaves from the pirate lord, but it was never enough. The king's competition starts tomorrow, so she is sent to her chambers. She's planning escape routes on her way there and even makes her own weapon out of hairpins and strings. Selena meets her personal servant, Philippa Spindlehead, one of the only people who knows her real name is Selena Sardothian. They didn't exactly get off on the right foot. At one point, Selena says, "Are you mad? I'm an assassin, not some court idiot." The rest of the chapter, though, is Dorian's POV. He's with his father, the king, and they do not get along.
No.
He made the trip to fetch Selena to get away from him, basically. The king thought Selena would have competition with the champion sponsored by Duke Parrington, Kane.
Mm.
He was forged with blood and iron on the battlefield, a true champion in the king's eyes. We learn that they are at war with Wendelin. There are a few illegitimate heirs from his father. And if Dorian courts Selena, the consequences won't be pleasant from her or from the king. Dorian talks back to him and gets backhanded. Dorian didn't want any more trouble for himself, though, so he bowed out and silently left.
Yikes.
That was an intriguing chapter.
Very eye-opening chapter.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just getting into the city. So all these people are seeing the royal guard escorting them back,
Mm.
and these crimson flags depicting gold wyverns are literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
She mentions that the stench of the city was gross.
Mm.
Under the smells of spices and horses was filth, blood, and spoiled milk. So we can't be in a nice area,
I
which
think
just
any city is just disgusting.
yeah, but I feel like it also shows how well she's treated once she gets in the castle later in these chapters, and how much food they have and cleanliness they have. And then right outside this castle is all this filth and disgustingness. Like, just shows you what kind of leader the king actually really is.
Yeah, for sure.
So these ladies on the side of the road, they were jealous. Selena wanted to piss them off more by batting her eyelashes at the prince's back, basically, and Kale pinches her and told her to be quiet and act normal. And this is where she says that she should jump off the horse and run, and she'd vanish in an instant. And he's like, yep, with 3 arrows in your spine, though.
Yeah.
She mentions here to us that she freed these slaves. So 200 slaves, freeing them, that sounds like a big task.
Yeah. She's a very determined gal.
Yeah, she will not die until all slaves are freed.
Yeah.
Selena is in her chambers now. She is getting ready for this competition tomorrow. Dorian's explaining all about it to her.
Mhm.
She counts all the exits and doors and windows while she's being escorted to her chambers, and while she's in her chambers, she studies the gardens and she's planning all her escape routes. She's doing her little assassin thing.
Yeah, I love how she's like, I am not going into the glass castle. She wants nothing to do with it. So she's staying
Yeah.
in the older part of the castle.
Yeah,
The
she's like,
stone
I'll take a
part.
stone room, please.
Yeah, I don't need a room with a view. I'd take the stone.
Literally. And of course, they're not giving her any weapons or anything for protection purposes because she is an assassin. So she took all of the hairpins and snapped their heads off, ties them together with string she found, and basically is hiding it in her bra. She's like, I ain't going to be caught off guard, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is certainly going to hurt if she jams it into a guard's neck. So she brought it with her at all times.
Mm-hmm.
She is fitted for proper attire to be in the court because she has to pretend to be this other person. So nobody knows she's actually an assassin competing in a competition.
She's literally so many people.
Yeah, she is. Selena meets her personal servant here, Philippa Spindlehead. And when Selena asks her if she's mad, Philippa says back, you're still a woman. And so long as you are under my charge, you'll act like one, or word help me.
That's like our new saying, like word instead of like the cauldron.
Yeah, word help me.
Word help me.
But I love that she just has sass with everyone, and everyone just gives it back to her. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. You'd think they'd be more afraid of her, and they're not.
No, not at all. Then we switch to Dorian's POV here, and he bears no resemblance to the king. Not even his mother has his sapphire eyes, so no one knows where they came from, which I think is pretty interesting. I'm like, doesn't act like the king, doesn't resemble the king, not even his mother. Interesting, and definitely said for a purpose there.
Oh, for sure.
The king warns Dorian about Selena. He says she owes allegiance to none but herself and would put a knife through his heart in an instant. Like, don't be stupid and foolish. But obviously, he must have a thing for her if he's even expressing this to his dad, who he doesn't even fucking like.
Right, yeah.
Dorian knows this, though, and knows she will win the competition because of it. So he's like, I don't give a fuck. I got the right champion for the job. So
Yeah.
He's going to win.
He's like the biggest supporter of her.
Yeah. Basically just to spite his dad, but it's fine.
I mean, whatever the reason, we love a supportive king.
Exactly. They are currently at war with Wendelin. And with enemies all around, the king had no problems using criminals who wanted a second chance, wealth, and the power of his name to do his dirty work for him.
Mm,
Obviously, if you want to do the best dirty work, you got to get the best dirty people.
exactly. I mean, he's not dumb.
No, he's not dumb. He's an asshole, but he's not dumb.
Yeah.
The king wanted Dorian to marry a proper woman. Then he can dally as he will after he gives him a grandson or two. He
Mhm.
tells Dorian, when you're a king, you will understand the consequences, which leads us into this discussion basically about him having illegitimate heirs
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting. Piece of shit.
So disgusting.
Literally. The king warns Dorian that Selena is dangerous, and if he courts her, the consequences won't be pleasant from her or from the king.
Mhm.
And Dorian said, "What if I do? You gonna throw me in the mines too?" And before Dorian could brace himself, the king literally backhands him across the cheek. He says, "I am still your king. You will
Yeah.
obey me or you will pay. I'll have no more of your questioning." At this point, Dorian's like, "Okay, I don't want no more trouble for myself. So I am going to bow out and hit the road."
Let me get out of here.
But I feel like it is not the last time we're going to see a little spat between these two.
Oh, definitely not.
No.
No. Moving on to chapter 8, Selena is given a royal tour of the stone part of the castle by our lovely captain of the guard. We
Mm-hmm.
see the ugly clock tower, and it gives us all bad vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Something to keep our eye on for sure, especially with weird markings in the ground that the gargoyle is pointing at. We see the library, and Kale gives us some foreshadow talking about a potential for a secret second library built beneath the one they are currently standing in. We
Mm-hmm.
learn of Selena's love for books, and our girl requests special permission from the prince to be able to access all of the books that she wants. He, of course, grants her permission to read anything in the library, but makes a special request that she read 7 from his own personal collection before diving into the library books.
Aw.
Yes, I love these just like fairy tale stories that like have these like gorgeous libraries, and our female main characters just love books, and I'm like,
I know.
that is me.
But also, Dorian loves books, which is even better. They both love books.
I know he does.
So cute, those two.
So Kale has been given the lovely job of giving Selena a tour of the stone part of the castle because Selena is still refusing to go into the glass part. Kale's like, eventually you're gonna have to go in there. Like,
Yeah.
that's where the competition is. But she's using this tour of the castle to plot her escape. Of
Of
course, she needs to
course.
know all her exits,
Mhm.
and she's just mapping everything in her head.
Yep.
The competition didn't start until tomorrow, so the tour was a perfect way to pass the time. Kale can't understand why she won't go into the glass castle, and she tells him only an idiot would walk in a house made of glass, which is
Valid.
very true, especially with the type of king that they have. Like, him walking around in a
No
castle made
shit.
of glass is not a good idea.
Yeah. It's almost like arrogant.
Yes.
You're like, "Yeah, I'm this much of a piece of shit and I can still walk around in a glass castle, you fucking stupid fucks."
Yeah, like, you can't touch me.
Yeah.
They pass a room that has noise coming from it, and Kale notes that it's Queen Georgina's room. And Selena thinks he's an idiot for giving her such valuable information. And she's like, the Queen's just sleeping like a couple of rooms down from me? Good information to
Yeah,
know.
literally.
We learn that Holland, who is Dorian's younger brother, is at school right now. He is 10 years old, and he was rotten and spoiled. He had beaten a servant so badly that he couldn't hide what he had done, and he was sent off to school. So it
At
seems
10 years old?
like Holland has more characteristics of the king than Dorian does.
Indeed.
Thank God Dorian is next in line and not Holland.
Thank God. Yeah.
Selena hears this awful noise that sounds like an explosion, and Kel shows her that it is the clock tower in the garden that was making such an awful noise. The
Mhm.
king had it built when Dorian was born, which is weird.
That is weird.
Kale said that he never wanted to go near it when he was a child. Like, it literally gives everyone just bad vibes.
Yeah, the creeps.
The clock tower was made of inky black stone, had 2 gargoyles on it. The numbers looked like war paint on the white face of the clock, and the hands were like swords. So it is not this like beautiful dedication to your son, the future king of a darling, to like
Yeah.
this creepy clock tower. Like, what?
Evil.
Evil.
Yeah.
When they went to walk away, though, she saw that the gargoyle had widened its jaw, like almost like it was like going to like eat her or
Wow.
something.
Yeah.
And there was a mark engraved on the pathway. It was a circle with a vertical line through it and extended beyond the circle. One end of the line pointed up and the other down. But
Mm.
Kale didn't know what it meant. Selena, though, said the gargoyle was pointing at it and wanted to know if there was more marks like this, but Kale didn't know, nor did he like want to stand there and contemplate what this could
Yeah.
possibly mean. He's like,
Yeah.
let's go on with the tour.
Yeah.
But I think that that is going to be very important information that us as readers and listeners should be paying attention to.
Indeed.
Kale shows her the library next. Selena loved the library, and Kale was surprised by her reaction. He didn't know that assassins like to read. He asked her if she had ever been to the Great Library of Orinth. It was twice
Um,
the size of this library, which had 1 million books and potentially a second library hidden below this one. That library used to hold all the knowledge of the world before it
Ooh.
was destroyed. She had been, but she wasn't allowed to touch anything, and she hoped that the master scholars had taken the books on magic or anything related to magic to safety prior to the King of Adarlan taking over.
Mhm.
Selena wanted to bring some books back to her room with her, but Kale told her she was not of noble blood and she would need either the king or Prince Dorian's permission to be able to take and read these books.
He's the one that told her.
Yep. Selena, bored out of her mind, writes Dorian asking her to read books from the library. He agreed and said that she could read any book she wanted, but told her she had to read 7 from his personal collection first, which is just so funny. He's like, yeah, you can, but read these first.
Yeah, and I also love how, like, almost sarcastic the note is because she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my gracious
Just
king," or
saying,
whatever
yeah.
she says. She's like, "Please give me permission." Like, so fake.
She knows how to suck it up when she needs to get what she wants.
Yeah, exactly.
She awoke the next day at noon, wondering when the competition was going to start. She like almost wakes in a panic. She's like, "What time is it?
Yeah.
Why hasn't anyone come and
She's like,
gotten me
"Fuck, I
yet?"
missed the competition."
Yeah, what the heck? When she looked outside, she saw a female dressed in a red dress and 2 ladies in waiting walking with her. This lady was stating that she wished she had worn white because Dorian liked the color white. She was
Ooh.
also worried about the prince's harlot, who he had searched all of Aurelia over to find, and she was worried about having Duke Parrington's attention. She'd
Mm.
rather have Dorian's instead
Yeah,
of
of
the
course.
Duke's.
Yeah.
Selena dropped a flower pot at this girl, ruining her dress with mud, and our girl laughed and told the servants to dress her in the finest dress possible. She's like, "Oh yeah? I'm a harlot? Fuck you." I love how she knocks it over and then pretends like she didn't do it. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, dress me in the best dress you can find.
Yeah.
You think I have Dorian's attention now? Just wait."
Yeah. Chapter 9. Selena was wearing a beautiful green dress and tucked her makeshift hairpin dagger inside, poking at her chest. Selena was under the impression that the whole court knew about the competition, but instead they thought the prince had brought her there to woo her, basically. Her and Filippo are bonding before Kale shows up, checks her out, and tells her to get upstairs now.
No.
They're going to see the king. The prince told her the competition was starting today. This meeting was the official beginning. The real work begins tomorrow. Kale gives her tips on how to act in front of the king, like bowing low, not to look him in the eyes, and not to talk back under any circumstances, which I feel like is going to be pretty tough for our girl.
Yeah.
But he reassures her and says this is just a meeting and she is not on trial. She had only seen the king once before at her trial, and it was enough for her to wish for any punishment that would take her far away from him, even a quick death. And a compliment from Kale ends the chapter.
Wow.
Okay, our boy Kale's turning around.
Finally.
Finally. So Felipa and Selena, they're bonding here.
Mhm.
She calls her beautiful, but still insults her. It's a pity you are who you are. She could have snared a husband, she says to Selena. But
Yeah.
they're both laughing together, though. So, she's got a good sense of humor.
I know, she gives me such Alice vibes.
Yeah, she's like our Alice, our new Alice. I love it.
Yes.
Kale's checking her out, and he doesn't approve of this dress, but I feel like he's kind of flirting with her, though, in this
Yeah.
moment.
Mhm.
He warned her, and it kind of scared me too about meeting with the king. Like, don't look
Mm.
him in the eyes, hold your head high, bow low, say your majesty after you speak to him, and don't talk back. If you piss him off, he'll have you hanged. I'm like, Jesus
Whoa.
Christ. I'm like, that's intense. I'm like, I'm nervous now that they're going to have this meeting. But then
Same.
he softens up and has this nice moment with her, reassuring her that it's just to find out what she needs to do, what the competition's all about, and why she's here, and what she's going to gain out of this at the end of
Mhm.
the day. And he even tells her after that she looks pretty today. So does he really hate the dress?
Oh, no.
I don't know.
I think he was just mad she was in a dress to go to this, like, first meeting with the king because it was for the competition. But yeah, I mean, obviously she looks great in the dress.
I think too, he has to like almost convince himself like she is a fucking criminal. She is the best assassin known on this continent. And this dress kind of almost humanizes her in a way to him where he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't like this. Like, I have to be mean to you.
Yeah. When you realize, like, oh, wow, you're a girl. You're an actual human being.
Yeah, literally.
Stupid Kale.
Stupid fucking Kale. Love him though.
Chapter 10. We are finally having our first interaction with Selena and the king, though thankfully it's not a one on one conversation.
Yeah.
He is speaking to her and the other contestants about the rules and how the competition will work. We finally learn what Selena's name will be while she's staying at the castle as a guest of Prince Dorian. They had to give her the most ridiculous name as well, Lillian Gordania? So stupid. Though I do love how this chapter ended with Caltane getting her ass handed to her by all three of our new favorite duo. So Caltane is the girl that was talking shit out in the courtyard.
Yeah, I fucking hate Caltane. But I also love saying Lady Lillian.
Yes. Selena entered the chamber to meet with the king, and she was surrounded by glass and there was no escape. She noticed a weird fireplace that had greenish fire that made her spine straighten. When she bowed low to the king, Kale put his hand on her back when it was time to rise. So I love how he's like literally like leading her, making sure that she's okay, like during the
Yeah.
process.
Well, also greenish fire?
Yeah, it's weird shit.
Is she?
Fishy. There were 23 competitors in the room and she was sizing them up. Most she thought have the strength, but not the brains to win this competition. She didn't like that most of them didn't give her the time of day, though, besides one man who was
Mhm.
like smiling at her, like looking at her.
Yeah.
The competitor Duke Parrington brought was massive, looked like he could crush a horse in his arms, and he also had obsidian eyes, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Selena didn't like the sound of champion. It was just another word for murderer. And
Yeah.
she didn't know if she could work for the king, but she really had no other choice for her freedom.
Yeah.
We learned that the competition would last 13 weeks. They would all live in the castle, train every day, and be tested once a week.
Mhm.
During that test, one of them would be eliminated. Some of them may die in the process, and they will add in additional elimination tests as needed. And if they displease the king, then they will be sent packing.
Yep. They have a short leash.
Yes. The week after Yulemas, the final four will face each other in a duel. The competition is mostly a secret. The court knows there's something going on between the king and his friends slash advisors, so they are to keep their business to themselves.
Mhm.
The king would be traveling until Yulemas, but he still threatened them, saying that he could order their execution at any time. So, once that excruciating meeting was over, Kale ushered Selena out of the meeting and didn't breathe until they were out of the hall and Dorian was waiting for them. He literally just like, it's great, let's go, let's keep going, and didn't like
Yeah.
let go of her until they were around the corner.
Yeah.
Dorian stated that Selena will be known as Lillian Gardania. Her mother is dead and her father is a wealthy merchant. Lillian is the sole heir to his fortune, but Lillian has a dark secret. She is a jewel thief by night. The most ridiculous background to give her.
Literally.
She tried to rob the prince when he was visiting Belhaven, and that's how they met. Her father sent her off to a city near Andover, and that's where Dorian searched long and hard to bring her back here for this competition.
I feel like nobody's gonna buy that. Number one, why would you go looking everywhere for a jewel thief that tried to rob you once
Right. That just kind of
to
makes you look
compete
like
in
an
a
idiot.
competition who has to kill people for a living
Right.
after you're like, but hey,
Hey,
he's
whatever.
clearly not the smartest.
He's not good at backstories.
Mm-mm.
Selena lies to them about, yeah, nobody's like a big deal except Kane being of no competition to her. She's definitely worried about having to compete against these people, especially
Yeah,
being out of shape and like out of practice for over a year.
yeah, for sure.
All of a sudden, the girl from the gardens interrupts their conversation and she was now dressed in a white and gold dress. Surprise,
Oh, she went and
surprise.
changed.
We're introduced to her as Lady Caltaine. It seems that no one likes this girl. Dorian seems to get amusement out of Caltaine being jealous over Selena. Like he is feeding into this.
Yep.
He thinks it's hilarious.
I don't think he likes her either, though.
No, but
So,
yeah, he definitely doesn't.
like, this poor bitch, you have no chance with Dorian. Why are you even making yourself look like a fucking idiot?
I
But
know. Dorian takes his leave of the group, but made sure to only kiss Selena on the hand before walking away, which I was like, oh my God.
Caltaine is fuming. The smoke's coming out of her ears.
Yeah, Caltaine told Lillian that they must be friends before going to see Duke Parrington. She's like, we
Fake
must
ass
become the
bitch.
best of friends. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, bitch.
Literally.
Kale walks Selena back to her rooms, and he seems to be slowly opening up and getting used to the idea of Selena being here. They
Mhm.
bonded over the craziness of Caltaine arriving to the castle's servants that carried her over 200 miles, just like such ridiculousness.
That's crazy.
Kel says that he will not eat lunch with her. He has to prepare guards to leave with the king. He tells her to get some rest because the competition truly starts tomorrow.
Caltaine is so fake.
So fake.
Like, she's so fake. Even her entrance to the castle was so grand because she had to make people think, like, she's better than she actually is.
Yeah.
What a loser.
Yeah. It's so funny when we like talk about the beginning of this book because there's just so many things that like I want to say and even tell you and I just can't yet. And
No,
it's
don't tell
so
us.
it's literally like Akatar all over again.
Yep. Megan's
Oh,
acting skills are gonna come back.
literally. Oh, so funny. I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to be like, and blah blah blah. And I can't.
No, you can't. Chapter 11. Kale wakes Selena up after only a few hours of sleep. She was up until 4 a.m. reading the books from Prince Dorian's personal collection. Kale is pissed as she wrote to the prince. It isn't her place. Or is this just jealousy?
Maybe both.
So, yeah. Selena is not impressed with her outfit tonight. Loose pants and a loose shirt. Awful. But Kale reminds her no one cares how she looks. They show up to the grand ballroom from training. Selena is firing arrows at targets when Kane enters the hall, and they have words with each
Hmm.
other. Kale and Selena train by sword fight, and she thinks Kale is actually good. He actually beats her. Next, she picks up the hunting knives, her dear old friends.
Ooh.
She's like getting back in her groove here. This is the first time she's trained in over a year. So, she's going to be a little rusty at first.
Yeah, for
We'll give
sure.
Kale the win today.
Yeah.
But first, like, is Kale putting on an act? Saying she's an assassin and shouldn't have written to the prince? Like, I feel like this is jealousy.
Well, he basically told her that she needed to get the permission of either the prince or the king. And obviously,
Yeah.
she's not going to write to the king asking him for permission. She's going to
No.
ask Dorian, who she has a weird bond with, like if she did
Yeah.
read the books.
Exactly, and no offense, but, like, she's just doing what you told her to do.
Yeah, and Dorian can decide if he wants her to read the books or not, like, he's literally the prince.
Yeah, exactly. They show up to this grand ballroom for training, and Selena is firing arrows at targets when Kane enters the hall. And they have words with each other. He says, I thought you'd be running home by now. And she says back, the fun is just starting, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I love that she's even giving the sass to Kane, even though he's the one person that kind of freaks her out a little bit in this competition.
yeah, you got to.
Yeah, exactly. Selena may be rusty, but Kale knows that she murdered a lot of people in prison. Like, she didn't just not kill for a year, she's been killing
Yeah,
throughout her sentencing as well.
yeah,
She says, that was with a pickaxe, though. Not
yeah.
a knife or an arrow. You gotta train a little bit.
I mean, her arms have still been getting work, like, yeah, it's not swinging a sword, but she was swinging a pickaxe, like, with the getting with the salt, so, like, she may look weak, but her arms still have to be strong t after a year of, like,
Oh,
mining.
absolutely. She's malnutritioned, but
Yeah.
she's not moving, you know?
Yeah.
She's still's got muscle under all that bone.
Mhm.
Kale and Selena sword fight during training, and Kale says her moves are still undisciplined, but Selena wants him to eat his words. He tells her to pick another weapon, something that will make him sweat, and she says, you'll be sweating when I skin you alive and squish your eyebrows. And he's like, that's the spirit, yes.
I love that line. So funny. That's the
So
spirit.
funny. Yeah. But hey, I mean, if she's gotta get angry to train better, then you gotta get angry, girl.
Yeah, he's like, "Do whatever you need to do to get your training in."
Yeah, literally. Love them.
All right, chapter 12. We are still in training when this chapter starts. Our girl is trying with all her might not to launch herself at the captain of the guard after he tells her that's the spirit. We meet her fellow competitors, but only get the names of a select few. Those will be the ones I keep my eye on for most of this book as the competition continues. No one seems all that impressed with our favorite assassin, but Kale says that this is a good thing for them. He
Yeah.
was glad no one was paying attention to them earlier when they were sparring because she was way better than he expected her to be. He wants her to stay in the middle of this competition so that the others look to take out the strongest competitors first, aka Kane. Even though our girl did okay with the sparring with Kale, the run absolutely kicked her ass, but she completed it. Even if she did heave her guts up after it was done, she will be back at her old assassin ways in no time.
In no time.
So, back to training. So, Selena was about to throw herself and the knives at Kale when a man interrupts them. His name is Theodos Brulo, and he is the weapons master and the judge of this competition. He has been the weapons master here for 35 years, and he will be very hard to impress. She suspected that he may have trained Kale too.
Mhm. Since Kale was actually good.
Yes. Brillo decided that he's going to have them do a little icebreaker and have them introduce themselves. Kane says that he is a soldier in the king's army and that he is from the White Fang Mountains. We have an Xavier Forel. He is a master thief of Melisande. There are 6 more seasoned soldiers that have been thrown out for questionable behavior. There are 3 other thieves, including the handsome gray eyed Knox Owen, 3 mercenaries, 2 shackled murderers. One is Bill Chastain, the Eye Eater, and
Ugh.
Ned Clement, Scythe. They spent time in a sister labor camp to Endovir, which was Calicula. There are 2 scarred, silent men who seem to be cronies of some far off warlord, 5 assassins. The first 4 she didn't care about. They weren't even of Arabin's guild. She said she would be worried if they were the silent assassins from the Red Desert. She had trained with them for a month one summer. And the assassin she did care about was called Grave. He had shackles and had 5 guards on him. So he seems like just as badass as maybe she
Yeah.
is.
Dangerous.
Selena introduces herself, but no one seems to be all that impressed. Especially, she's like, "I'm Lillian Gordania, and
Yeah.
I'm a jewel thief."
Yeah.
Like, what?
She's actually pissed though, I feel. Like she's like, "Why are they not scared of me?"
Yeah. Brullo says that they are going to go on a run, and whoever doesn't complete the run will be gone. Selena is still pissed that no one is caring about her, but Kale says that she will stay in the middle and no one will notice her because they will be focused on getting out bigger opponents, and when she beats them all in the finals, she can be smug then.
Yeah.
She stayed in the middle of the pack during the run, just like she promised she would, but Kane was surprisingly fast and a good 10 feet in front of them all. She's like, he's very large and he's this fast.
Yeah.
She like makes a note that that is weird. She did it though. She finished the run and then she excused herself, saying she dropped her ring that she needed to go get and she vomited into a bush. But Kale did see her do that.
Yeah. I think she was trying to hide that for sure, but Kale's like, "Where you going, bitch?"
Yeah. He's like, "We're not going anywhere without me
Yeah,
noticing."
literally. And I feel like she did size up Kane too earlier in this set of chapters, and I think she even makes a mental note like, "Oh, he might be big, but I'm quick, so I'll get
Mm,
him there." So I feel like her noticing even how fast he is now, she's like, "Oh shit, like the one thing I thought I had on this guy, I
yeah.
don't have."
Like, his size and his quickness isn't adding up.
Yeah, exactly. Chapter 13 in our last chapter for this episode.
Whoa.
Selena is enjoying her temporary freedom, especially because she has books to read now. She's been
Mhm.
exercising privately in her room just because she was pretending to be in the middle of the pack. There was no reason to train like it. Selena meets the Princess of Eelway, Nehemia Yetker. She knew the Eelway language better than anyone else, and they hit it off right away. Selena heard rumors of Nehemia saving slaves and smuggling information and supplies to the rebel groups hiding in Eelway. Nehemia might someday pose a threat to the king of Adarlan's rule over her home country when she ascended the throne. Nehemia tells Selena that about 5 years ago, the king was responsible for burning whole libraries, universities, and museums down to the ground, regardless if the books were about magic or not.
Hmm.
Kale also thought the king was behaving very suspiciously. He departed that morning and hadn't taken any guards he suggested and refused to say where he was going or to accept his offer to join him. That's not the only weird occurrence. There were also a few royal hounds that went missing, only to find their half eaten remains in the northern wing of the palace.
Weird.
That's weird. Kale has a lot on his plate, and he hasn't slept since Selena was taken out of Endovier. There was something great and deadly concealed within her, and he didn't like it. He would be ready when the time came, but he wondered which one of them would survive.
Ooh.
Ooh. So he's still trying to size her up, but
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
I think he's also, like, so conflicted, just like Dorian is, between, like, his attraction to her, but, like, who she is as a
Yeah,
person.
exactly. It's really hard for them to keep it straight.
Yes.
Selena meets the princess of Eelway, Nehemia, and Selena knew the Eelway language, which I think was interesting.
Mm,
Obviously, she can't tell the princess why she really knows this language. So she tells her that she
yeah.
studied it for years and she knew the slang of the slaves because she learned from a slave. But
Yeah.
she also makes it clear to Nehemia that she didn't believe in keeping slaves. So we learn here that Nehemia was there at a request of her father, King of Eelway, to learn a Darlin's language and customs so she can better serve her people. So this is why the princess is here at the castle.
Mhm.
Selena has heard the rumors of Nehemia saving the Elway slaves, which I feel like is also probably a little bit of the reason why they hit it off so quickly
Yeah.
because that's Selena's thing, saving the
Yeah.
slaves.
Yeah. They have similar
Yeah.
personalities.
And how about all the books in Ilway being burned 5 years ago when a Darlin marched in?
Yeah, same as Terracin.
Same as Harrison. So I feel like he's just trying to get rid of all different culture. If
Mhm.
something's different than their customs, he doesn't want it to exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking douchebag.
Literally.
Nehemia wanted Selena to be her company while she was in Rifthold, somebody that she can talk to and hang out with.
She was currently with Caltaine, and who wants to hang out with that
Yeah,
bitch?
she's like, fuck this bitch, give me Selena. I'd rather hang out with her.
Yeah, even Kale's like, "I will get you away from her."
Yeah, literally, they're all like, "We will save you, honey."
Yes.
We switch to a Kale POV here at the end of this chapter, and he's getting suspicious of the king's behavior. It is
Mhm.
kind of weird that he won't tell him where he's going, doesn't
As the
want
captain of the
him
guard.
yeah, doesn't take any of the people he suggested or let him go. So he's like, "This is weird. I'm usually in the loop for everything, so something fishy's going on here."
Yeah.
And then these royal hounds go missing and were found half eaten in the
Yeah.
northern wing of the palace. So this is actually in the palace.
Yeah, like, how did they even get in there?
Yeah.
And that's not the
Yeah,
kennels.
it's or also, like, how did something get in there to eat them? Like,
Yeah, what ate them?
yeah, and how did it get past the royal fucking guards? Like, this is craziness. We're just getting into the good part here at the end of this chapter.
I know.
Kale also he's wishing for months to go by so Selena could be appointed champion, and then once her years of servitude was over, she would be gone. But I feel like he doesn't really feel this way.
He's literally wishing, like, 5 years of his life away
Away,
just
just
to
so
get
he
rid
can
of
be away from
her.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just
So
knows she's gonna
dramatic.
be a royal pain in his ass, but also he
For
knows
sure.
he's gonna have the sympathy there or he's gonna care about her at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all we have for
Yeah.
you today.
So
So
crazy.
crazy. We're 1 down, 3 to go before final thoughts of this book.
Yes.
Before we close out this episode, we do want to mention again our Discord. We're so excited. Please join and talk and let us know what you guys think about this episode and
Yeah.
any of our other episodes you want to talk about. Let us know how excited you are to read our book. Just talk to
Yes.
us.
Yes.
Be our
So,
friends.
yes, let us know when you purchase your copy or get a copy of Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. We are so excited to start the book. We're looking to have like a discussion of that book around the end of April, early
Mhm.
May, just because we're just building up this Discord. We want to get time for people to get the book, read the book before we have our first meet and greet with everyone. It'll be
Yes.
so great.
Yay, I'm so excited. Please also let us know what you think by leaving us reviews and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in.
Yes, don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week where we start part 2 of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, covering chapters 14 through 27. Happy reading!